Redondo Beach and other coastal areas of Southern California are bracing for record crowds this Labor Day weekend. Tens of thousands of people will try to get relief from a heat wave that is gripping the state and much of the West. A few weeks ago, Death Valley National Park in California hit 130 degrees. It is believed to be the highest temperature ever recorded on planet Earth. For many across the country, it was a scorching summer, but not just in the West. In fact, a place warming faster than anywhere else might surprise you. Recently, we paid a visit to get the facts and maybe a peek into our future.
It has become America's newest hotspot in more ways than one. As families have flocked to Maine for summer road trips during the pandemic, something else is on the rise as well. Water temperatures in the Gulf of Maine, stretching from Cape Cod to Nova Scotia, are warming faster than anywhere else in the lower 48.
Things are changing, and they're changing fast.
Andrew Pershing is chief scientist at the Gulf of Maine Research Institute. So far, they've measured more than 100 heat wave days in Gulf of Maine waters this year.
Heat wave is a really new term in oceanography. And the idea is, just like a heat wave on land, we're trying to capture the idea of conditions that are abnormally warm and that are persistent.
A heat wave day means the water temperature is at or above the 90th percentile of the average temperature going back 30 years. Over the next 30 years, a new report put together by 11 Democratic senators says the U.S. needs to spend $400 billion every year to fight warming waters and the effects of climate change.
I think we're a little bit past just saying, climate change is real, the Arctic is melting.
Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island is one of the report's authors.
You have millions of people right now who are having a tough time putting the next meal on the table.
Yeah.
Do you think you can convince them that trillions extra should be spent to fight climate change?
Well, because many more trillions will be saved.
What do you want people to take away from this report?
The biggest thing, I think, is that climate denial and the fight we're having over addressing climate change is truly not a partisan issue. When I got to the Senate in 07, 08, 09, it was perfectly bipartisan.
The report says the goal should be to create 10 million new jobs in clean energy manufacturing and development, which they believe could prevent further changes, especially right here.
One of the troubling things that we've started to notice is some big changes at the base of the food web in the Gulf of Maine. Some really critical plankton species that are food for lots of other animals, and we're losing some of our subpolar species like cod, like northern shrimp.
The warming waters have actually increased the number of lobster in Maine, but Pershing believes on the current course, those numbers will eventually plummet.
We have done a projection that looks at how temperature impacts lobster, and our projection says that if we get our carbon emissions under control and stabilize the temperatures, then the Gulf of Maine holds on to a lobster fishery. If we blow through those targets and we end up with a high CO2 world, by the end of the century, Maine won't be a lobster state anymore.
It's hard to imagine Maine without lobster.
It definitely is. I think it's a really hard thing to get your head around, but that's the challenge that we all face. So you think about other classic species or trees or animals that are associated with a place. All of those things are now moving across the map as we're warming the planet up.
You wouldn't think it, right? That the Gulf of Maine,
Yeah.
the Gulf of Maine would be warming faster than anywhere else in the lower 48, but that is what's happening. 100 heat wave days just this year in the Gulf of Maine waters.
No lobsters in Maine?
No, there's more right now because the water is warmer, but the concern is about the future.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in Maine this summer. Man, oh man, good to see.